Hello, welcome to another episode of Revenue Hacks. I am Calvin Tilokee and not Christina Quigley. As you can tell, today we have a wonderful panel here. We are powered by STR for this episode, talking about direct bookings. Very appropriate. So we're going to go around the room and introduce the panel as usual, so we can get right into this. As you guys know, my name is Calvin Tilokee. You may know me as the STR of hotel memes on Instagram at Revpar, and I have turned that into a social media agency to show hotels how to leverage the power of social media and drive direct bookings, amongst other things. So we'll start off to my right with Adele.
Hi, I'm Adele Gutman, and I am the host of the Hospitality Reputation Marketing Podcast. And after 40 years in the hospitality industry with a lot of success on being number one in the city, in the country, in the world on TripAdvisor, I now consult with hotels on teaching them the five-star review system so they can do that too.
All right. And as you can see in the top right corner of the screen, we're also sponsored today by the Hotels Network. So I'll skip an order here and we'll segue properly to Fiona.
Hi, so my name's Fiona. I head up marketing at the Hotels Network. I've been working in marketing for over 20 years, the majority of that in the hospitality industry, which I'm really passionate about. And for those of you who don't know the Hotels Network, we're totally focused on direct bookings, which is why we're taking part today. And we're working with over 10,000 hotels all around the world, all different countries, to help them grow their direct bookings.
I'm a longtime customer, and I can tell you it's a fantastic service.
Thank you, Adele.
I mean, you can't ask for better promotion than that at all. It's awesome. And last but certainly not least, the man with the best background on the show, Michael.
Yeah, so my name is Michael. I'm a senior account manager at STR. I'm looking after mainly clients in the UK and Ireland. And at STR, most people know us for benchmarking and data analysis. So we look at performance analysis for hotels. So looking at slightly different things than the ladies, we look at where the hotels end up rather than preparing them for it.
Right. So we've got the full data journey here on this panel today. So I'm excited to get into this. This is obviously a big topic in hospitality and has been for quite some time. I think it's probably taken on a bit more importance now in light of the recent events, obviously. So we're talking about driving direct bookings. How do we get guests to book directly with us as opposed to all the various other channels that they have? So let's start off with that. How do we encourage the guest to book with us directly? What are some ideas, tips that you guys have to get that guest to click on our website as opposed to somebody else's?
You know what? I was interviewing Stuart Butler, who at the time was the head of fuel marketing for hotels. And he said that they did a survey in 2019 that showed that 87% of travelers look at the hotel's website before making their booking. So if we are letting the other OTAs and other venues eat our lunch and not keep them on our site, it's kind of our own fault. And we need to find out, what we're doing wrong. We have to reduce the friction points of making that reservation easier, faster, more convenient, more informative, more attractive. And I always make sure that I have at least one exclusive offer that is only available on the website, that is not distributed, not to the GDS. It's not even on MetaSearch. I'm not trying to poke anybody in the eye with it. But if you come to my website, you bet I'm going to serve you up an exclusive offer that is going to be more attractive and make you want to stay on that site.
Well, as the revenue manager on the panel, the first thing that pops up into my mind is parity. How do you get around that? Because the
Like I
first
said,
thing
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, by not publicly distributing it, just having it on the site, and it has really saved me having that kind of an issue.
Exactly. We see that with the hotels that we work with. So you can still have a parity, but yet you give extra benefits to the guests who book directly with you. So this could be some sort of welcome gift whenever they arrive, or a late checkout, or whatever it may be. So you can still be in parity with your third party distributors, but still find a way to make guests feel that they're going to have a special treatment if they choose to book direct with you.
Right, and they
So
can
I
have
agree.
member rates, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure that we outlined that, because that's obviously been a tricky thing for so long. The minute you have a rate on your site, you're going to get a call from that market manager for one of the OTAs. They're like, "Hey, how come we don't have this rate?" So you have to distinguish it properly, like you said, whether it be a certain add-on that you could only get at the hotel. I worked at a property once that had their own products, their own shop, so candles, soaps, things like that. So if you book direct, you would get those things. If you book through an OTA, you wouldn't be able to get
and
that.
you can also create packages and package things together, so that's not
Exactly.
actually 100% comparable to what you're offering on your OTAs.
That's right.
Exactly.
You're not presenting it that this is bar rate, or this is your,
Exactly.
prepay and save rate, or whatever. That's something that you may be giving to everybody. This is a package. It's a special offer, and it's only available through you. And you know what? Another thing that I feel like hotels are actually driving me, forcing me to book through the OTAs, when they give a mobile only rate to the OTAs, but don't give a mobile only rate on their own website. That, and then if you call the hotel and say, "Hey, you know what? I saw on TripAdvisor or some meta search that you have a special offer, and that members get at least a minimum of 2% savings." And then I click on it and go to your website, and I find a higher rate than I found on my phone that you're giving to the OTAs. I want to book directly. Please let me book this rate directly. And they're not empowered.
Yeah.
They're not empowered to
That-
just say
Great point.
yes. Send me the screenshot, and if
We'll
it's
match
the
it.
same rate, if it's the
Yeah.
same dates and the same room and everything, I'm going to do it. If you send that person to the corporate office, they're going to have an unhappy experience.
But Adele, this is why sometimes you have to automate it. So we see a lot of our clients using what we call price match. So if it is detected that there, for example, there's a rate that's being shown elsewhere cheaper, then using the technology, they can automatically match that rate to make sure that there's no reason for the person to go to the third party or go to the OTA and to book directly. And you can also add in a little extra to make it not only to meet the rate, but also to give a little something extra to somebody who books direct. And that can all be done automatically through the system. So that removes the necessity to give the authority to the receptionist or whoever who's answering that phone call. And it's all transparent for the guest. They don't even see it. They just automatically see the best rate, and that's it.
That's a great idea, because that as a revenue manager, that would drive me nuts when I'd hear front desk, or it's not to point at the front desk, but anybody would say, "Oh yeah, this guest called and said they had a lower rate in the OTA, so I just told them to book there." What?
It happens. It happens all the time.
It does happen, because with all of these different channels, sometimes it is hard to keep things in parity at all times of the day, right? You may change your rate and things reflect differently. But Michael, I want to let you get in there and give your thoughts on this as well.
Yeah, no, now that you guys mentioned, the reservations and front desk teams, that I come from that background, so I've got hotel operations background from front of house, guest relations, and I can tell you this can make a huge difference if the team actually knows and is well trained for these things, or even just spot the guests that would regularly book through OTAs when you can give them the same rate through yourself. I know that we converted lots of guests that come through OTAs, and we knew that they were coming every 2-3 weeks, so we would offer them their own rate that was essentially for us better off and it was better off for them as well, because we would not have to pay the commissions to the OTAs, but we would still get the guests back. So, you know, having the front of house team or reservations team trained up to spot these opportunities where you can say, hey, I know you've booked through a third party. How about we give you something next time?
Right, right. Great ideas as well. Yes, we've got some great comments coming in. One here, this I think is very interesting. I'm love to get you guys' opinion on this one. This person is saying that I've stayed at places that would limit Wi-Fi access for guests that book through OTAs, and no cookie on arrival either. Um, I'll let you guys jump into that first. I have mixed emotions on this one.
That could be risky, because I know as a guest myself how utterly annoying it would be, and it has been in the past, when they asked me to pay for Wi-Fi. And I think today it's taken as it's just obvious that it has to be for free. And Adele, I'm sure you've seen this whenever we were analyzing guest reviews and whatever. If there was not free Wi-Fi, it just caused an absolute uproar on guest feedback. So maybe instead of taking something away from what you're giving to guests who book through the third parties, instead of that, you still give them something that everyone expects today, which is free Wi-Fi, and you add something additional for the direct booking, rather than, you know, punishing somebody who books through a third party.
Right.
It's true. We were able to get a really special offer on wine. It was good, and it was really reasonable, and it was easy. That we said, if you're booking direct, you can add a bottle of wine for $5, and so we weren't necessarily giving it to everybody. So we weren't spending money for people who don't actually want that benefit. But if they do, they went, oh, why not? You know, and made them feel special. And we did give free Wi-Fi to everybody. Why irritate people?
Yeah.
You want every single guest, no matter where they come from, to have a great experience at your hotel, to say, I love that hotel. That was wonderful. And I got a lot of value on it. But, you know, they told me they thanked me afterwards for their business. They got my email when I was there. Your database is everything if you want to get direct bookings. You really need to focus on how to get that database going. So make sure that everything is in place, from the assistance of your front desk team to any kind of maybe a pre-stay email where they register and they give their contact details directly. Something is there to help you get your database. I know here in South Carolina, there's the Kiowa Golf Resort. They give away a crazy package of, I think it's like 5 days and $1,000 worth of golf, which, by the way, that covers 2 players for one session. It's very expensive, but they give meal, they give something, and they give such a huge prize that people are just signing up for their website in droves. And that database is so valuable, and it's a much more affordable way and a successful way of acquiring a new guest. But if some outside source gives you a guest, you've got to convert them to a direct booking. And why don't we say thank you for booking direct? We really appreciate that. It really helps our business recover after all this hard times. Why not say that to a guest? They'll feel it, and they a lot of them will do it.
No, I agree. And I think what you're saying there about capturing the lead, what we saw is, especially over the past year and a half, there was maybe traffic to the websites of the hotels, but people were still worried about whether this restrictions going to be lifted, and they were maybe hesitating more than normal before making the booking, and they maybe weren't quite ready to book. They were still starting to dream again because they wanted to dream about being able to going on vacation, but they weren't quite ready to make that booking. And so we really encouraged the hotels that we worked with to capture the email addresses, to capture the contact details, because if the person's not ready to make the booking, there's another type of conversion you can get in your website, which is actually a lead. And then you can nurture them and you can communicate with them over the month. And then when they do feel comfortable and safe again to travel and to book a stay, well, then you're going to be the first port of call.
I love
So
Larry's comment there. That's
yeah.
fantastic. Absolutely
Mhm.
right.
So we have another great comment coming in from Andrew, who's here every week with us. We all want to convert OTA bookers to direct. However, in the contracts, it says about not stealing customers from them. Do you think we just need to work on the 11th commandment route and try not to get caught? Um, I'll start on this one because I think the way we want to look at OTA customers is you're going to have a segment of your business that is going to come through there regardless, right? But like Adele, I think alluded to in her previous responses, our job is once we get them in the door, they should never want to book elsewhere again, right? So I think initially you want to look at that second stay, that return stay. They should be wanting to stay with us because a lot of times when people find you through an OTA, it's because they may not know the area. They just happen to find you because they were searching first time to the area, whatever. But the next time they're coming, they should go to your website first because we've loaned them away, right? Um, I'll let you guys jump in on that, but I do have another idea, something that I've done. So Andrew, I'll give you a tip once it gets back to me here.
Yeah,
Michael, why
I
don't you
totally
start
agree
us off
with
on
this.
this one?
I think it's also, so everyone needs OTAs, or the majority of hotels need OTAs to drive that first booking. But there's no excuse for somebody going through the OTA the second time. That means we're not doing our job well in terms of as hotel marketers or whatever. I think today there's also a huge opportunity in that there's more and more. The COVID situation has meant that the percentage of reservations coming from the domestic travelers and the domestic market has increased enormously. So whereas, for example, if you're a hotel in Spain, you obviously don't know how to target or how to market to travelers coming from Japan. Your website's not in Japanese and you have no idea how to do marketing campaigns in Japanese. And so if you want to attract Japanese visitors to your website, then you obviously have to go through the third parties that are specialized in those markets. But today, given when sometimes the domestic market is 80%, 90% of the traffic that's coming to your website currently, there's no excuse. You don't need as much support from the OTAs because your website, you speak their language, you understand your local travelers, and you know how to reach out to them and communicate with them. So I think there's a huge opportunity today to grab the attention of your local travelers and your domestic travelers and through the direct channel.
But also your website needs to be customer friendly, because the amount of websites that I have seen where you try to search for rates or book a room and halfway through you just give up because it's way too complicated or way too clunky, it just pushes you out to the OTAs because, with booking.com, it's fairly straightforward.
3 clicks.
It's quite easy, a few clicks and you're done. Well, if your own website is way too complicated to navigate to actually get to the end result of booking the room,
Absolutely,
Great
100%.
point.
you
And
drive them there.
Right.
savings a few seconds, a fraction of a second, makes a difference on your conversions. But I think that I question it sometimes because if I go to a website and I see it really takes me a long time before the booking engine gets in, or it gives me, it's palpably a long time before I get a result, or if the results aren't really what I was looking for and the explanations are not clear enough, I find that even more important. If it's an extended period of time, yes, I get annoyed, but that fraction of a second really doesn't bother me. It's really, I asked for this and that's what I received. I actually got the information I wanted. And if it could just save my information also, that I don't have to always be putting in my name and address and everything, even though I've come to the property multiple times. I think that's the time saving that they're often looking for when they're going to an OTA. But the information should be very easy to find and comprehensive and very inviting, and really drilling home right on the website how great it is to book direct. And by the way, the contract doesn't say that you can't market to them. It says that you can't target them. And so if you provide a certain level of service to everybody and you're communicating this way to everybody, and this is just part of the exchange in taking care of this guest and making sure they have the best experience possible, then you're really not out of line.
Yeah, yeah, and that leads me into the tip I was going to give for Andrew. So at one point, I was working at a hotel that was obviously very well focused on stealing as much of that share back as possible. You know, there's no secret. The OTAs know that we're trying to reduce those commissions as much as possible, right? So, but I was at a hotel where the leadership was super focused on that. It was the most important thing to them. So what I came up with my reservations team is, as we went through arrivals every day, or a few days ahead, we called everyone and offered and told them, hey, I see that you booked XYZ rate or XYZ package, just letting you know we have these on offer, and if you book with us directly, you'll get such and such benefits. We called everyone. So if anybody decided to cancel their current reservation or and switch, that was up to them. So that's just a way you can kind of try to quote unquote steal the share without, necessarily targeting the guest. But Adele's point is valid. You have to do that for everybody. If you just make a list of the OTA reservations and do that, then you're probably crossing the line there. Also, before we move forward, I want to remind you guys that we want to hear your feedback. We want to know what you have to say. So we're going to drop a link here in the comments on the show. We have a survey going on. If you want to just let us know things you want to see on the show, things you don't want to see on the show. If you'd like me to try to do an Irish accent like Christina, which I do not advise, but we'll try it if that's what you want. So let us know what's going on there. And we'll get into our next topic here. We want to start talking about the cost of acquisition. So how do we, as hoteliers and on this side of the business, how do we try to minimize the cost of acquiring a customer these days?
I would say what we've seen is working with our hotels that the marketing budgets have been cut, or at least they've stabilized, and so the teams don't have any more budget or any more money to invest in driving additional traffic to the website. So what we recommend strongly is to focus on optimizing the conversion rate of the website. So see what they call CRO, conversion rate optimization. So it's really focusing on the traffic that you're getting to your website. What can you do to make sure that there's just an extra 5%, 10% of people who are going to convert? Because if you think about it, I think on average, they say in the industry that of all the visitors that arrive on a hotel website, only 3% on average are making a booking. So that means 97% of the people that arrive on your website arrive there and they leave again. And by even pushing that up to 3.3, 3.6%, that can have a huge impact on the revenue that you're driving, and obviously will drive down your acquisition costs. So my recommendation would be to really focus on the conversion of your website. Start by analytics, so understand how you're performing and break it down right throughout the tunnel. So not just looking at what's my overall conversion rate on the website, but looking what is my conversion rate from my homepage through to my booking engine. And then if the traffic that I drive to my booking engine, what is the conversion rate of that, the people who arrive in my booking engine through to actually making a booking, so that you can really understand what's happening on your website. Where are people dropping off? Where are you losing them? And then you can identify where are the areas you really have to take action. So for example, if you're not driving enough people from your homepage into your booking engine, but once they get the booking engine, they're converting well, what messages could you put, what personalized messages could you put when they arrive on the website so that they feel that they've come to the right place, and that you're like leading them hand by hand, you're leading them by the hand, you're pulling them through that booking funnel right towards the making a booking. So that's what I would recommend to focus on.
Another thing I would recommend is, be good consumers and become an expert. You may have landed into your position, starting out the way I did, knocking on doors, making sales calls. Please, won't you go and stay in my hotel? But as technology continues to grow, you have to learn as much as you can by watching shows like this, by taking courses, going to conventions, having exchanges with people in the industry through HSMAI or other organizations. I know a lot of people today are at the Rock Conference, for example. Be an expert and then shop. If you're looking for a booking engine, look at least 5 different things and analyze how are they pricing, and negotiate too, because I can tell you that for hotels that were getting an average rate of $350, $400, you want to be sure that you're paying a fixed rate and not a percentage rate. I can tell you what we paid for different booking engines, and what the kind of pricing that we had for websites or for marketing companies varied so greatly. And just because something is more expensive doesn't mean the technology is better. Some people are just going to give you a more fair deal, and the more you know about what's important to you, what works at your property, the better off you'll be. And a lot of times something will work for a certain time period, or it'll work. I've seen things that an advertising campaign, for example, or some kind of program that will work great at one hotel and at a very similar hotel will not work great. I've had things that have worked great in one time. A year later or 2 years later, it is not performing well. Cut out the things that don't work for you. Give yourself flexibility, and don't work with a company that charges you an account fee and a design fee and a create the campaign fee and another fee and another fee. I mean, if you're feeling like you're getting hosed with fees, you probably are. You have to be a good shopper.
This was actually one of the things that came up in my research when I was trying to look at, the topic and what's going on out there, and it came through from everything that I've read that there's never essentially a zero cost of sales, because you will always have something that you either pay for your own website, for your own booking engine, for your own team and staff. But one of my colleagues forwarded me an article today saying that sometimes for hotels that have memberships, affiliations with various different things, that sometimes the cost of acquisition of members coming through member channels is very similar to a cost of acquisition through an OTA. Depending on a region, for certain countries might not be the case, but for some countries it is. So at the end, whether they came through your brand's membership or an OTA, it's coming up to a similar price. So I guess it comes down to, like Adele said, analyze what you're paying for everything that comes through your own channels and see what the difference is, because if you're paying the same thing for OTA versus your own channels, you might want to change certain things here
Right.
and there, or even the campaigns. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's a great point. You guys all really hit it home there. I think it's knowing your business, right? It's easy to make the assumption that a direct booking would be less expensive for you, but unless you're actually looking at it and looking at what's happening, there's no way to know that. And we right now we have a big surprise for all you guys. We have a special guest joining the show. Um,
Signals
Completely
great.
unannounced. We've got Mr. Tom Finn. He is at the Hotel 360 conference, which is the first in-person trade show in the UK since the beginning of the pandemic. Rise Up is a partner for the show. Many of our regular viewers are actually there in person, so he's joining us to give his impression of the mood and the ambiance. And apparently, it was so good that he went right back to it. He couldn't even be bothered to tell us. He was so excited to stay there. So when he's ready, we'll be bringing him back in. But in the meantime, we'll jump into this comment that we got earlier, because Michael, you brought up about loyalty programs and close communities. We had we had a comment here from Harry asking for us to dive in a bit more to that, giving loyalty members some discounts or things like that in order to drive them direct. What ideas do you guys have around that topic?
Sorry. Sorry, you're talking about loyalty members. That is very important. You know what? I was in a boutique hotel company, so I don't normally talk about loyalty in the same way you guys do. Because we didn't have a loyalty program. We just weren't big enough to do it. But there's no doubt that it is a huge impact. I was just talking to somebody at a chain who said that their loyalty members book twice as often, pay twice as much. There's no question about it that loyalty is important. But I like to talk about actual loyalty. Actually making the customer feel so in love with you and your people, not to mention the hotel itself, but they love the way they're treated by your people so much that they really want to come back and again and again. Xerox did a study many years ago, and I know that everybody looks at good reviews are 4s and 5s. They said that out of the customers that rated them 4 stars versus 5 stars, 5-star customers who really liked their service, that were real fans, they were 6 times more likely to buy another Xerox product. The 4 stars said it was fine, but I don't think I'm going to come back. I will come back if it's convenient to me, but if a new hotel opens, I'm going to try that. That's not loyalty. 5-star reviews are loyalty. Sparkling sunshine on every single guest, telling them how much you appreciate them, not just in your words and with your eyes and with your body language, but in making sure that everything is exactly as you promised. You have a brand promise, and your team should know that their goal is to make 100% of the guests that are in your hotel today fans for life. And if you tell them your contribution is important, we value you. I want you to tell me when you see a friction point in the hotel that some guest is not enjoying. If somebody comes to the front desk and says, "Hey, I didn't know that you were going to authorize my card for incidentals," then there's a communication problem that we need to address before the arrival, so you stop having that problem. I'm not going to let you deal with the same problems time after time, because I've got your back. If you tell me you have a problem with something recurring, let me go back to the website, the booking engine, the pre-stay email, the confirmation, the way I'm written on the OTAs, and let me make sure that I'm communicating so well that the guests know exactly what to expect when they get to the hotel, and that you have all the tools, training, and freedom from fear to do what you need to do to make 100% of the guests happy. That's true loyalty, and that's how you get 6 times more rebookings.
And I think going back to what I mentioned about the more domestic travelers currently, I think that's also an opportunity from loyalty, because you can have very loyal, as you said, Adele, if you're not in a huge chain, it's very difficult to have a loyalty program as such. But you can still, without creating an actual loyalty program, you can still have membership for people who are registered for your newsletter, and you have that regular communication, and especially for local visitors, because maybe they're not going to stay at your property every Saturday night, but they're like staycations. People are still want to leave the kids with the grandparents and go for a romantic dinner on the Saturday evening, stay for a Saturday night, even in a hotel in the city where they are living. And also you can, sell gift vouchers at Christmas, and spa, if you have a spa, and your restaurant. So I think even if you're an independent or a smaller boutique group of hotels, and it doesn't make sense to have a complex loyalty program as such, there's still makes a lot of sense to build your database of guests and locals who live around you and communicate with them regularly and making them feel special, as you said, Adele, and also whenever they arrive back on the website. So not only do you recognize them whenever they walk up to the reception, but right from that visit, when they first land on your website, that you recognize using technology that this is somebody who's already stayed in your property, already visited your website. And so you have personalized messages to them that say, welcome back, so that they feel special. And, Black Friday is coming up, which we know is a critical date and has a lot of opportunities for the hotels to give a nice peak in their revenue. Again, instead of just having a blanket offer where you have your Black Friday offer that you show the same thing to everybody, why not create different offers for Black Friday? And then you say, okay, for my loyal guests, for the people who are members and who receive our newsletters, you're going to get a really special Black Friday deal that's not available to any random person who lands on the website. So I think it's all about is that making people feel special, and you can also do that on the website and ensure that you personalize the offers and the messages that you give them whenever they land on the website.
There's not a person in the world who is a traveler who doesn't want to feel special, who doesn't want to feel cared for, appreciated, and respected at every single encounter they have at your property, before your property, after they leave your property, all through the journey.
It's the whole journey.
You know what? Your employees also want to feel special. And unless you make your employees feel cared for, appreciated, and respected too, it's going to be hard for them to have that to give to the guests.
Yeah.
So
that's what the business is all about. That's what we're here to do. We talk about a lot of things on this show. There's so many different moving parts in this business, but at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. That's what we're here for. So we're going to give a round two. We're going to give another try to our special guest here. Apparently, he noticed that happy hour was starting, so he had to log off earlier and run to the bar. But now he's ready to go. Tom, what's up, man?
Hey, can you hear me? Can you see me okay?
Yep, both.
Perfect. No, yeah, so I'm here, guys, at the Hotel 360 Expo. I've actually managed to hijack somebody's booth so I could plug everything in and get ready. So I'm actually at the drop top booth, and I just sort of ran over to them and said, hi, can I use your booth? They very kindly said yes. But no, it's a great day so far. There's loads of exhibitors. There's loads of familiar faces, which is always great. And I guess I wanted to say hey to everybody at Revenue Hacks. You know how much I love you guys.
Yeah, well, same here. We're happy to see you, man. We're telling everybody you're at the first in-person meeting in the UK since the beginning of the pandemic. So what is it like there?
It's actually really good. It feels natural, to be quite honest with you. It feels like something that, how it used to feel. I thought actually I was going to be a bit anxious and a bit actually nervous, because I'm actually not only hosting one panel today, I'm actually hosting two. So I've sort of thrown myself into the deep end a little bit after not doing anything for nearly 2 years. But you know me, Calvin, I like to do that. So yeah, it's feeling quite good. The hustle and bustle of everywhere. Everybody's really sort of, enjoying being in people's company, to be honest. It's a really good vibe. Good vibe.
That's good. Yeah. That's exciting. That's great to hear.
Exactly.
So what topics are you speaking on, or what's going on at the show?
Yes, so I'm actually speaking on the next generation of hotelier and what sort of brands are actually missing out on fresh talent, basically, and how we're going to be able to engage and really raise awareness of the careers that can be seen in the hospitality but also travel and tourism industries, which is something, as a lot of people know, I'm massively passionate about. And actually the second one is something I found out at about 10 o'clock last night, which is how to engage or continue to engage with your employees, how to keep them, and how to really sort of understand who they are and what motivates them. So that's the second one that I'm going to be doing at 3 o'clock.
we were just talking about that.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, there you go. Ties in quite nicely.
Absolutely.
So yeah, no, honestly though, it's a fantastic day. What a way to kick off sort of in-person meetings again. And it's just great to see a lot of familiar faces. And again, a lot of new ones. And I'm going to have to apologize to these guys soon because I'm in the middle of their thing and people are coming in and out and all sorts.
Well, I think I speak for the audience. Can you give us a little bit of a 360 there so we could see what it looks like? Give everybody a little view.
Okay. So here's my camera guy, because we're going to be filming an episode of ENF TV today. And then we've got, so that's Drop Top, the guys that I unfortunately took over. And then we've got all of this going on all the way down there.
Wow.
And we've got 2 other sort of rows going that way as well. There's hundreds of people here. It's absolutely brilliant. And loads of stalls. I'm actually really looking forward to going around and having a chat with a few people, to be honest. So yeah. But guys, my panel starts and I have to go brief everybody. But this is something I was really looking forward to doing. But back to the studio. I've always wanted to do that.
Thank you, Tom, for giving us the update. What's happening on the streets? We'll see you next time.
I'm your eyes in the sky. See you later.
Awesome. Oh man, that's great. Well, yeah, it's great to see in-person things happening again. I've been to 1 or 2 conferences here in the States this year, and it is exciting when you get back in there. You kind of things feel quote unquote normal again. So that's great to see. Looks like we got some good stuff going on there. Again, Raise Up is a partner there. So any of you guys who can tune in, excuse me, be sure to go take a look. Apparently we're on a panel talking about the importance of mentorship, which is critical. I think even more so these days, trying to gain and retain employees.
Pablo
so we got
has a great comment there.
Let's do it. Yeah, I was going to say we've got time for one more. Cost of acquisition can be related to talent too. How much does it cost to hire versus retaining your current talent? Yeah, we're going to need more than 5 minutes on this. Go for it.
It's a huge expense. That turnover is a huge expense. And long before this crisis that we're having, and probably because we didn't fix that problem at the root beforehand, that's part of what's happening now with so many people leaving the industry. If people don't feel appreciated and cared for and nurtured through the growth that you can have in this business. I mean, the owner of the company that I worked for 20 years started as a busboy. Where else can you go from being a penniless busboy to being, the owner of a collection of beautiful hotels around the world? It's amazing. If you're willing to be helpful, if people are willing to give you a chance, if people are willing to coach you on how to grow your career, and if you're willing to learn all kinds of things and just go a little bit above and beyond in everything you do. I love what Horst Schulze says, is that when he was a teenager and he started out in the dining room, he learned that he didn't just have to come to work every day and do his job and show up. He needed to come to be excellent, not come to work, but come to be excellent. And that changed his life. And look where he is now. He's the guy who created the whole culture of Ritz-Carlton with ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen, one of the finest hoteliers.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Any thoughts from Fiona, Michael on this one?
Yeah, I think that today one of the challenges is that, so obviously there's so many people have left the industry and disillusioned with it. But for the people who are still in their roles, what they're finding, what we're seeing with the head of marketing and the revenue managers that we're working with on a daily basis, is that they are now in a team where they're doing their own job plus the job of another person, if not a third person, so it's how do you also keep and motivate the people that are still there, because they find themselves in a very difficult situation where their budgets have been cut and when they're being asked to do the job of 2 or 3 people. And that's also where we think that technology can help. If the hotel owners are finding it difficult to recruit the talent that they need, then there's also to look in parallel to look at the technology and what's available out there so that they can make their jobs more efficient in what they do and more automated, so that the people that they do have in their teams don't feel totally overwhelmed, and that they're getting, if they're not getting support by growing the teams, that at least they're getting support by having the best tools available to them in order to be able to do their previous job much faster.
Yeah, I mean, retention here in the UK and Ireland is a huge topic. I went to a hotel association meeting from one of the regional cities here, and it was a big topic there during their business updates from everyone, retaining staff, giving bonus if they stay until the end of this year, giving another bonus if they stay until June 2022, upping the salaries for everybody from the bottom up, because people leave and people accept offers elsewhere and come back to their current employers and say, I got extra 2,000, 3,000 pounds a year there. Can you match that and I will stay? So it's happening everywhere, and I've heard hotels actually turning down business because they don't have staff to actually facilitate running the hotel all around the country here. So yeah, that will definitely contribute towards your total cost then.
Yeah.
But perhaps as well, instead of just thinking of giving bonuses and increasing salaries, it's what other things can we do? And it's more, as Adele was saying, make people feel that they're bringing value to everything, and investing in their career development, investing in their education, making sure they have the best tools available, that they're sent to that they've got given time to attend training courses, and so that they evolve in their knowledge of the industry and their expertise, and if they're in marketing or revenue management or whatever they're working in. But there's not just throwing money at it. I think to solve it in a long-term way, it's also how can we invest in the development of the people that work in our industry.
Yeah, I think that's certainly a key point. I always make the joke that I can count on 2 fingers the amount of hotels where I started and got a proper onboarding experience, a proper training experience, right? Because we're typically in the situation where, we're putting out fires. We just got to throw people right into the role, and they kind of learn as they go. But this doesn't teach them anything about the full experience, the full hotel. And this leads to us working in silos because nobody knows what the other department's doing, and then there's a lack of respect for the other departments. And then as they're not learning exactly how their role impacts the bigger picture. So it's just this grunt work. It just feels like I come in, I fill out this checklist every day, and I leave, right? So then they're not feeling like they're part of the guest experience, they're part of the overall operation, how their role impacts everything. And this is going to lead to people just kind of being disillusioned, feeling like, hey, I just come in, I work, I get my check, I go home. And this is what we're seeing now, and it needs to change big time. We are on a completely different topic that we decided to get on today about booking direct, but it just goes to show that everything plays a part. Every aspect of this business, every aspect of hotels plays a part in everything else. As Dylan said, this could easily be a 2-hour show, but unfortunately we are out of time. We do need to wrap this one up for today. A little bit sad about that because this is a great conversation. It's going down a very interesting road, but we'll have to save this for a future episode. I want to thank my wonderful panelists for joining today. Made my job very easy. You guys all brought some brilliant ideas and brilliant comments. Feel free to join us next week where we're talking about leveraging your voice. Apparently, I'm losing mine right now. But we're talking about leveraging your voice. Christina will be back. And thank you again to all of our guests, STR, the Hotels Network, and of course, the wonderful Adele for all of your great comments. I think we need to log off before I just completely lose my voice here. So we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.
See
Goodbye.
you next week. Thank you.
See you. Bye bye.